You look so wonderful in your dress. I love your hair like that, the way it falls on the side of your neck, down your shoulders and back. We are surrounded by all of these lies, and people that talk too much. You got the kind of look in your eyes as if no one knows anything but us. Should this be the last thing I see, I want you to know it's enough for me. 'Cause all that you are is all that I'll ever need. I'm so in love, so in love, so in love.
Dance of 2026. Special welcomes to Mr. and Mrs. Moses, Mrs. Perrier, Mr. Brent, Mrs. Cummings, Mr. and Mrs. Gillers, our staff, and of course, our honoured guests, the class from Redham House in Schlager of 2026. Give yourselves a round of applause. This is a very, very, very special night. It is also an absolutely infuriating and frustrating night for me, because it is the one night of the year I can't comment or tell you off about your hair, your makeup, your earrings, your uniform, and that's just boys. But it's probably for the better, because you all clean up incredibly well and are looking absolutely fabulous this evening. I don't think our staff are doing too badly at the back there as well, looking very sprightly. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, it wouldn't be a matric dance without a Mr. Harris style talking to you about rules and decorum. I know that's a big word for a Friday evening. Now, Mr. Harris did have a long-standing commitment that would have meant he couldn't be here this evening, but he loves you all so much that he has made a plan and is here tonight. He wants a photo with every single one of you that he can frame and put up. Can we give Mr. Harris a round of applause, please? So I, this evening, will do my absolute best to speak in true legendary Jamie Harris style. As you can see, I'm working on my Mr. Harris impression, particularly the hairstyle, which is proceeding swiftly. And the housekeeping and guidelines, the rules for this evening haven't changed since Mr. Harris presided over his first matric dance. Of course, back then, students arrived in horse and carriage, and the hall was lit by candlelights alone, and a lonely Tyrannosaurus Rex skulked on the fields. So, just reminders. The bathrooms out to my left, to your right, just here. Please don't go into the preparatory school or backstage. We will be checking. The dance concludes this evening at 11 p.m, where I know you're all going to go home, have some hot chocolate and start studying, right? Tonight is a massive, massive milestone, and you've earned it. Not only is it something you've been looking forward to the whole year, but it marks 14 weeks until you are officially unemployed. So do your absolute best to make memories tonight, memories you will actually remember, memories you will be proud of. Now, I would say don't do anything I wouldn't do, but that's kind of more encouragement than a warning. Given that the ratio of good to bad decisions I made in my youth is lower than some of your maths marked. So I'm going to say this before I welcome up Mr. Moses to say grace. Despite the fact that most of you are legally of age where you can do the stuff you've been doing for the last 2 years, make good decisions this evening. Make memories you'll be proud of. And if you do find yourself misbehaving, please, 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 for the love of God, do it off campus and don't take pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moses will be able to say grace, after which we can enjoy our starters on the table. Everyone, please put your hands together and welcome the wonderful, the effervescent Mrs. Shelley Perry.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to start by apologizing that I might go off script because my script is much smaller than it usually is because I didn't have the the usual font that I use, so I'm going to do my best. As I stood greeting each one of you this evening, I found myself looking beyond the suits and the dresses. Of course, I noticed how beautiful you all looked. In fact, for one or two of you, it genuinely took me and Mr. and Mrs. Moses a moment to recognize you because the transformation was that complete. But what I found myself noticing more than anything were the finishing touches. The earrings that caught the light, the necklaces, the watches, the cufflinks, the manicures, and the shoes. It struck me that although every dress and every suit was beautiful on its own, it was those finishing touches that completed the outfit. They added your personality. Sometimes a touch of glamour, sometimes a little whimsy. Some of you went with an elegantly understated look. Some chose accessories that are bold and full of fun. Those little details quietly told me something about you before you had even said a word. Let's take my outfit, for example. The olive dress I'm wearing tonight was given to me by my sister, who now lives in America. She decided she probably wouldn't have another opportunity to wear it, and she knows that somehow I have never quite outgrown a matric dance. By my rough calculation, I think this is my 26th. But the story isn't really all about the dress. On Tuesday this week, during the craziness that is the first day back, Mrs. Barkas, my PA, asked me what I was wearing tonight. I told her about the olive dress and mentioned, almost as an afterthought, that I hadn't been able to find gold shoes, so I'd probably just wear black ones instead. It was one of those conversations you have in passing and it's completely easy to forget. The next morning, despite it being one of the busiest weeks of the year, Mrs. Barkas arrived carrying a huge bag. Inside were 4 beautifully labeled boxes, shoe boxes, because if you know Mrs. Barkas, you won't be surprised to hear that every pair of shoes she owns still lives in its original box, neatly labeled with matching accessories. We happen to share the same shoe size, and tucked inside one of those boxes was the perfect pair of gold heels. I still don't know how she remembered such an insignificant comment, let alone found the time to pack what felt like an entire wardrobe. But of course, it wasn't really about the shoes either. It was that she had listened, she had remembered, she had noticed. Tonight, I know many of you are wearing finishing touches that tell stories too. Arushi has transformed her mum's skirt that she wore for her pre-wedding celebration into a dress because she's loved it ever since she was little, and it represents everything about family. Danya is wearing her mother's wedding dress to honor the woman whose love and example have shaped who she is becoming. You may be wearing your grandmother's ring, or the first necklace your dad gave your mum, a grandfather's tie pin, a bracelet that belonged to someone special. To everyone else, they're simply beautiful accessories, but to you, they're little pieces of your story. And so I was thinking about all of this, and I realized something. The people who have had the greatest impact on my own life haven't done so through enormous gestures. they've done it through little touches of thoughtfulness. Someone leaving a latte on my desk with 2 sugars exactly when I need it most. Walking through the front door after a long day to find that a glass of wine has already been poured, because that's always when I need it most. It's someone remembering a random comment about old shoes. Tiny touches of love or friendship that whisper, I see you. So yes, sometimes it is all about the dress or the suit. The big things in life, like the degree or the job or the wedding. But I promise you, you will leave more of an impact on people when you make it about the little touches, the meaningful things. And wherever life takes you, I believe that many of you will add a touch of beauty to the world through the little things you choose to do for others. But I invite all of you to stand and raise your glass. To the stories that we wear, to the people who quietly shape us, and to the remarkable class of 2026. Cheers. To the class of 2026.
Good evening, Mr. Moses, Mrs. Peringe, teachers and their significant others, and fellow matrics and your partners. Welcome to the class of 2026, Matric Dance. It is an honor to be standing up here tonight, addressing all of you. It is lovely to see everyone in the building tonight, looking fabulous. The ladies looking stunning in their dresses, and gentlemen looking classy with their suits. And to our part-time student, Mr. Locke, we are glad to see you here tonight, looking handsome. Tonight is a special night for the matrics. Memories will be made, laughter will be shared. But let's not forget that this is a milestone, that we have reached in our high school career. Each and every single one of us, each and every single one of yours dedication and hard work got you to this moment of time. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Prior to MD, school has been charming me nicely, with the constant work being handed left, right, and center. It has become so bad, to the point that certain subjects had to be sacrificed. But for my safety, I will not be naming those subjects, as my teachers are in the building tonight. But despite all of that, I'd like to thank one person, my date, Onke. Because without her, I probably would have never been here tonight. So she said yes to my MD proposal. So I just want to say thank you for saying yes, or else I would not be here. Yes. And she looks fabulous tonight. I think one thing we'll definitely remember is the waltz practice. Coming in during the holidays to learn how to do the steps. At first, it looked like a hot mess. But with Miss T's patience, we eventually ended up perfecting the dance. But the teachers can be the judge of it. And of course, there's Jonam, Snaden, and Amir, who decided that dancing in pairs was overrated and decided to dance in group of threes. I don't know if they thought they were creating a new routine or just making sure nobody got left out, but they somehow got it to work. Then there was the excitement leading up to tonight. From planning outfits to organizing entrances, and of course, Andile Radebe trying to convince Mrs. Peringe to let him arrive with 7 cars for his matric dance entrance. I don't know if he thought he was filming Fast and Furious or making a presidential arrival, but hey, he somehow got it done. Now I'll be passing over to Rishi, and I must say, your dress looks amazing on you tonight.
Thank you, Anoko. And I have to say, you look quite dashing yourself. I'm especially glad everything worked out in the end, particularly the shoes. It honestly doesn't feel real that we're finally here. But before I begin, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of the partners joining us this evening. Thank you for sharing this milestone with us, and we're so glad that you're here to celebrate it alongside us. For years, we've watched the Matrics walk into their dance thinking, one day that will be me. We admired the dresses, the suits, wondered who everyone was going with, and imagined what our own night would be like. And somehow, without really noticing, we've become the people we once looked up to. There's a quote that says, "The days are long, but the years are short." And I don't think I ever understood that more than I do tonight. Some school days felt like they'd never end. Yet somehow, in what feels like the blink of an eye, we're standing here at our Matric Dance. Standing here tonight has also reminded me just how quickly time passes. The skirt I'm wearing this evening is actually part of the outfit my mom wore to one of her wedding celebrations over 20 years ago. When she wore it, she was celebrating the beginning of a brand new chapter in life. And tonight, in our own way, so are we. And I think that's what makes evenings like this so special. One day we'll look back at the photos, the outfits, and these memories, and realize that they were never really about what we wore. They were about the people we shared them with. Of course, getting here wasn't exactly stress-free. Take Anako, for example. He confidently told his mom he was a size 6 shoe, and even sent her proof. And somehow, she still managed to come back with a size 7. When he put them on, I'm pretty sure Bigfoot was wondering where his shoes were gone. So the day before the dance, they were rushing around exchanging them for the correct pair. And I think we've all learned that sometimes even photographic evidence isn't enough. Then there's Mahia. She brought a beautiful ring all the way from Italy. So naturally, we assumed she'd had everything planned for months. Only for her to casually tell us on Sunday, I actually hate my dress. 5 days before the dance. I don't know what's braver, buying a brand new dress that late or telling your mom. But I think we can all agree it was definitely the right decision. You're looking absolutely gorgeous today, Mahia. And then there's Vivian. He was determined to get the perfect wine-colored suit. And yes, I now know that wine and maroon are apparently two very different colors. The irony, after all that attention to detail, the sleeves didn't even match. So, just a few days before tonight, those had to be changed as well. But thankfully, from where I'm standing, it looks like everything came together. But one of my favorite parts of preparing for tonight has been watching our teachers get almost as excited as we are. We even got the chance to see Miss Adlam's Matric Dance photos. So naturally, we had a few questions, like where the dinosaurs were and how she managed to get colored photos back then. But we really do love you, ma'am. But before I continue, there are a few people we'd like to thank today. Firstly, and most importantly, Mr. Harris. Thank you for being much more than just our grade head. Thank you for guiding us through the highs and lows of Matric, for putting up with our endless questions, excuses, and last-minute panics, and for always being there when we needed you. We know that we haven't made your job easy, but we truly appreciate everything you've done for us this year. To Mrs. Levo, Ms. Buthelezi, and Ms. Cousins, thank you for the months of planning, decorating, organizing, and making sure every little detail was perfect. We know just how much work goes into creating a night like this, and because of your dedication, we've been given an evening we'll remember for years to come. Now, people often say the most difficult job in the world is being an air traffic controller. Others might argue it's being a surgeon, where every decision has to be perfect. But after watching almost 90 Matrics attempt a waltz, I think Ms. T has them all beaten. Teaching a room full of students, many of us with very determined left feet, how to dance gracefully in just a few lessons is nothing short of a miracle. Thank you for your patience, your encouragement, and for somehow convincing us that 1, 2, 3 over and over again would eventually make sense. Let's just hope that in a few minutes we look like elegant ballroom dancers and less like a tsunami. To the flavor team, especially Shaskia, thank you for the wonderful food and refreshments you provided for us tonight. And as I look across this room, I don't just see the dresses and the suits. I see the people I've grown up with. And over the last few days, I think we've all seen a different side of each other. I've watched everyone filming TikTok transitions together, somehow needing 50 takes to get the perfect one. I've watched groups of people sitting together around tables for hours, making toys together, laughing over the smallest things and completely losing track of time. And I think that's what I'll remember the most. Everyone's guard came down. Nobody cared what anyone else thought. There's no judgment, no pressure. Just a group of teenagers laughing together, helping one another, and letting their inner child come out again. It reminded me of when we were younger, before life became about marks, university applications, and deadlines. For just a moment, we were simply kids again. In a few months, our paths will begin to look very different. Some of us will head off to university, some straight into work, and some still figuring out what's next. But tonight, none of that matters. Tonight, we're simply the Redham House Umhlanga class of 2026. So don't spend the whole night trying to capture the perfect photo. Be in the photo. Don't worry if your shoes become uncomfortable or if your hair isn't quite as where it was an hour ago. Laugh a little louder. Dance a little longer. Talk to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Be present. Because years from now, it won't be the tiny details you'll remember. It'll be the people. It'll be the laughter. And it'll be the feeling of being together exactly as we are on this one unforgettable night. So, without any further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Harris to open the dance floor for us. No, I'm joking. I'd like to invite the Redham House Umhlanga Matric Class of 2026 to join us as we officially open the dance floor.